classroom buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the scraping of chairs against the floor, but for Emily Parker, it felt like she was drowning in a sea of strangers. It was her first week at Crestwood High, and though she tried to blend in, her quiet demeanor and new girl aura made her stand out more than she wanted. She sat at her desk, clutching her notebook like a shield, her long wavy hair falling over her shoulders like a curtain of safety. That hair, it wasn't just hair to her. It was her confidence, her comfort, and in a way, her connection to her late mother, who used to braid it every morning before school. At the back of the room, Jason Miller, the boy everyone knew, captain of the basketball team, always surrounded by his pack of loud friends, leaned back in his chair. To him, Emily was an easy target. She was quiet, didn't know anyone, and the kind of girl who, in his eyes, wouldn't fight back. His friends had already been making jokes, whispering and laughing whenever she walked past, but Jason had something bigger in mind. As the teacher stepped out of the room for a quick call, Jason saw his chance. He grabbed a pair of scissors from the teacher's desk, smirking as he stood up. "Hey, Emily," he said casually, walking over. Everyone's eyes turned toward them, eager for some entertainment. Emily didn't answer. She kept her eyes on her notebook, but her grip tightened around her pen. Jason walked behind her, holding the scissors up dramatically. "Let me help you cut this hair," he teased, pulling up a strand of her wavy locks for the whole class to see. The room erupted with laughter, phones discreetly raised to capture the moment. But when Emily lifted her eyes, she didn't look scared. She looked furious. Her green eyes locked on Jason with a cold fire, and her jaw tightened. "I'm gonna break your arm in 3, 2, 1, she whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. The laughter died down instantly. Jason froze, the scissors still hovering in the air. The look on Emily's face wasn't one of fear, it was strength, unshakable and chilling. For a moment, even Jason, the loudest and boldest in class, didn't know what to do. The silence pressed down on the room like a heavy blanket, and everyone watched, waiting for what would happen next. Emily stood up slowly, pushing her chair back with deliberate force. She turned to face him, her eyes never leaving his. Jason's smirk faltered as she stepped closer, her voice steady and sharp. "You think cutting my hair is funny? You think humiliating people makes you strong? Do it, go ahead. But I promise you, Jason, if you even touch one strand, you'll regret it for the rest of the year." Jason chuckled nervously, trying to play it off. "Relax, I was just joking." But Emily didn't back down. "No, you weren't. Bullies don't joke. They hide behind laughter because they're too weak to face their own insecurities." The class shifted uncomfortably, some whispering, others glued to the scene unfolding. Emily took the scissors from his hand, not yanking, not fighting, but calmly pulling them away, as if Jason had already surrendered. She placed them on the desk and turned to face the entire classroom. "You all think this is funny, watching someone get humiliated, but what if it was you? What if tomorrow it was your turn to be laughed at? Would it still be funny then?" Her voice didn't shake. Her words cut sharper than the scissors ever could. For the first time, Jason didn't have a comeback. His friends looked away, embarrassed, suddenly realizing they weren't laughing anymore. The room was silent, except for Emily's breathing. She didn't cry, she didn't run, she stood tall, daring anyone to challenge her again. The teacher returned moments later, sensing the tension but not asking questions. The scissors were back on the desk, Jason had retreated to his seat, and Emily sat down again, her face calm, her notebook open as if nothing had happened. But everything had changed. Word spread quickly through the school. By lunch, everyone had heard about the new girl who stood up to Jason Miller. Some called her brave, some called her crazy, but no one dared to call her weak. Over the next few days, something remarkable happened. People who had never spoken to Emily before started sitting with her at lunch. A shy girl named Sarah admitted she had been bullied by Jason's group too, and Emily's courage gave her the strength to speak up. Others followed. Slowly, Jason's grip on the school's social hierarchy began to crumble. For Jason, the shock of being confronted by someone who refused to bow to him was a turning point. He avoided Emily at first, embarrassed and angry, but deep down, he couldn't stop thinking about her words. "Bullies don't joke, they hide." That line echoed in his mind more than he wanted to admit. Weeks later, when the principal announced a new anti-bullying initiative, Jason surprised everyone by volunteering to join. It wasn't instant redemption, but it was a start. Emily didn't set out to be a hero. All she wanted was to be left alone. But by standing up for herself, she became something bigger, an example. She showed everyone that real strength isn't in cutting others down, but in refusing to let anyone cut you down. And that day in the classroom, what began as a cruel attempt to humiliate her ended with the entire school realizing something they would never forget. Courage is contagious, and sometimes all it takes is one voice, one stand, to silence a room full of laughter. In the end, Emily didn't just protect her hair. She protected her dignity, and she gave others permission to do the same. What happened next truly shocked everyone, not because a bully was defeated, but because a new kind of power rose in its place: respect.